Alright, cue the Brian Windhorst meme because what the heck is going on in New Orleans between Herb Jones and the New Orleans Pelicans? I mean, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, the guys played one time in their past 14 games. And guess who he played against? Yup, you'd be right if you said the Lakers. Playing 35 minutes in that game, starting for their team, looking completely fine and pretty much normal. I mean, apart from not shooting that well, but playing defense and playing pretty well for a guy that's played one time in pretty much the past month. They haven't played him and really have shown no indication that they plan to play him, or even apart from that he wants to play for them. And according to a new report from Kevin O'Connor, that might be the case here, really indicating that he would like to move on from the Pelicans, would like to play for a different team, and that team may in fact be the purple and gold. After all, we've heard plenty about it, plenty about the Lakers' interest and what they may or may not be willing to give up for Herb Jones through a trade. But up until this point, we haven't heard much from Herb Jones' side, the Pelicans' side, what they would specifically want from the Lakers, and if they'd even be willing to trade Herb Jones to the Lakers. But from Herb Jones' camp, and if this report does turn out to be true, there is mutual interest here. So here's what he had to say.
What's next?
Herb Jones to the Lakers.
Yeah, I thought about this one.
Yeah. This one, it's not quite a layup, but it definitely, there's interest there, I'd say, on both sides, the Herb Jones side and the Lakers side. I mean, Herb Jones really isn't playing basketball right now.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's a lot of indications that he would like a move, or his camp would like a move to a contending team, and the Lakers are looking for a 3-and-D wing. I reported on my podcast earlier today how they're dangling their 2032 first-round draft pick to teams, similar to the Suns were a year ago when the Suns traded their 2031 first for 3 first-round picks in 25, 27, and 29. The Lakers are trying to do a similar thing with their 2032 pick for either 2 or 3 worse firsts than theirs in order to have more draft capital. And the belief is that the Lakers are going to try to use those picks and packaged with Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt or Maxi Kleber to go out and get some 3-and-D wings to surround Luka. And so Herb Jones, I think, would be near the top of the list in terms of affordability and game fit in a Luka Doncic future roster.
Again, definitely a pretty weird situation here. I don't know if Herb Jones doesn't want to play, if he's holding out so he doesn't get further hurt than before the trade deadline because he wants to be traded, or if it's more from the Pelican side and they don't want him to get hurt, don't want to risk him getting hurt before the trade deadline and hurting his trade value. Even though they've kind of neglected to say that they're open to trading him, reports kind of say that they would trade him for the right price and are probably more leaning in that direction, are simply making it seem like they're playing hardball to get him, want the absolute best price for him through a trade, which I don't completely blame them for. But I don't really get the back and forth of him not playing, him only playing against the Lakers. Is he trying to showcase his talent to them? Is he trying to put it on display and make it pretty evident that he wants to play for them? Even that the Pelicans know that they're probably the best trade suitor for him, are the most desperate team that have called them endlessly about him. I would probably guess that's kind of where it's leaning at this point. Herb Jones wanting to play there, or wanting to play in a similar situation like the Lakers, a team that have a clear and obvious need for a player like himself, a big 3-and-D wing that fits both the short term, what the Lakers are missing on this team and probably the missing piece on their team, and then even the long term too, fitting next to Luka Doncic, not only for this season, next season, but possibly the 3 to 5 year outlook, a guy that's under contract, even a pretty good contract that pretty much everyone agrees on. I think it makes a lot of sense here, so we're going to further talk about this, talk about how much is really behind this report, if it makes sense, and if it might actually help the Lakers get him. If Herb Jones and his camp actually want to be here, that would definitely help. Then on top of that, if the previous report that I talked about in my last video, also coming from Kevin O'Connor, this detailing the fact that, or maybe not the fact, but report that the Lakers are trying to trade their one tradable first-round draft pick, that being their 2031 first, for multiple lesser first-round draft picks. Are they trying to do this directly to get Herb Jones? You know, if they can't get him with one first-round draft pick, turn that one into 2 or 3 first-round draft picks and send that directly to New Orleans for Herb Jones? Maybe. And beginning directly with that, if the Lakers would pull it off and find a way to trade that one first for multiple firsts. Again, I made an entire video about this. If you want a detailed breakdown of how they could do this, what team would be the best team to trade with, so they can turn that one first into 2, 3, even maybe second round draft picks or whatever it might be, how they could do that and how they could pull it off. Let's say they do it. Let's say they make a trade with the Nets and they get 2 or 3 future first-round draft picks, protected picks, or maybe pick swaps, whatever. They trade that to New Orleans and they get Herb Jones. Would that be enough? And maybe it's not what the Pelicans are telling them to do, saying that they don't have enough to get him, but if they would trade that first for multiple different first-round draft picks, then it might be enough. You know, it wouldn't be completely out of the realm of possibility. You know, teams make all kinds of demands, and given the Lakers' persistent effort to try and trade for him, to trade for Herb Jones, and this is the guy we've heard about for months on end now, I wouldn't be completely shocked about it. Again, definitely not guaranteeing it, but whether or not the Pelicans told them to do this, whether or not it's simply an idea they've come up with, whether or not the report's even true to begin with, it does make sense. Now, I'm not a big fan of the idea that the Lakers might be a bit desperate to get him. You know, if you look desperate through a trade, then the other team is definitely going to see that. Other trade partners are going to see that and try to take advantage of that. Hopefully that's not the case here. Yes, we've heard plenty about their interest in Herb Jones. Hopefully they're not taking that a bit too far, only going after him and making him their #1 priority and pretty much above anyone else by quite a large margin. Hopefully that's not the case here. But regardless, it would be great to have a guy that actually wants to play for their team. You know, if you're trading for a guy, you obviously want them to be here, even if it's not a star player per se, which is not the level that Herb is at in my opinion, not even close to it. But even a high quality role player like himself, you obviously want him to want to be here. You obviously want him to envision the fit that you see of him on your team and kind of see the vision of him with your team going forward, and obviously the present too. That's gotta be #1. Don't want to trade for a head case that would come in and mess up any team chemistry that you might have on your team, would not fit the vision that you have of said player with your team, and I don't think that would be the case with Herb Jones. Even apart from the fact that he's simply not that player to begin with. From all accounts, he's a very level-headed, very good team chemistry type of guy, that I think would fit in pretty much anywhere. But even a report saying that he would like to be here, he would see the fit of himself on your team, I think that's a good sign and definitely a good indication of a good trade target, if you can get him for the right price. And you know, speaking of the reported price for him through a trade, I think they're definitely bluffing here. Yes, maybe they want a first-round draft pick for him, but the reported price of 2 unprotected first-round draft picks, maybe with young talent with it, is definitely overkill. I don't believe that. I don't think that they believe they could get that. I don't think any team would give that up for him, even at the most desperate point, and if Lakers would qualify for that desperate team for Herb Jones, they're not going to give that up. Again, they don't even have that to begin with. Whether or not that's why they're trying to get multiple tradable first-round draft picks or not, I don't think they'd give that up. Even if they would get 2 or 3 tradable first-round draft picks, that doesn't mean they trade the entirety of that just for a Herb Jones trade. Yes, maybe part of that, and maybe even part of the reason why they want to make that kind of trade to begin with, so they can actually get Herb Jones through a trade and move a bunch of the chips on the table for him. But I don't think it's entirely worth it for him. I don't think that 2 or 3 even lesser tradable first-round draft picks would be what it would take or should take to get him. I think a lot of it comes down to bluffing. But those are only my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. How do you feel about the Herb Jones situation? How do you feel about him playing one time in the past 14 games against the Lakers coincidentally? How do you feel about the Kevin O'Connor reports regarding Herb Jones and his future with the Pelicans, if he might want to be a Laker, the trade price for him, and maybe the Lakers trying to turn their one tradable first-round draft pick into multiple of them, possibly to get Herb Jones through a trade? How do you feel about that, and do you think it would be worth it or not worth it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that will pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching, and have a great day or night.